Good evening, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Urbana Community Development Commission. However, prior to our agenda items, we're going to have a public hearing. The purpose of the hearing is to provide an opportunity for the public and the commission to provide input and comments regarding the proposed City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium Annual Action Plan and budget for fiscal year 2017-18, as well as the proposed City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium Annual Action Plan Amendment for fiscal years 2014, 15, and 2015-16. Notice of this public hearing was placed on the city's website on Friday, March 10th, 2017, along with a notice that the public comment period would begin on Monday, March 27th, 2017, and it would last 30 days. I now declare this public hearing open. If anyone desires to express their views regarding the proposed annual action plan and budget for fiscal year 2017-18 and or the proposed City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium Annual Action Plan Amendment for fiscal years 2014-15 and 2015-16, please come forward and be recognized.
First thing I wanted to do is there was a memo that was sent, it's also on the city website, for the annual action plan budget, and I wanted to go over that quickly, yeah, before anybody wanted to come up and comment. So basically, with regard to our the city CDBG and home grants, all proposed activities and the budgets I had 10% decrease, 10% increase, and staying status quo. These budgets will be proportionally increased or decreased from the estimated funding levels to match the actual allocation amounts. When I was at a training a few weeks ago with HUD, that is what they suggested, and that we should be prepared that we may not be submitting the annual action plan in May like we normally do, but to have it all prepared and ready, and when they let us know, then we can hit the submit button. Otherwise, who knows, because we have no idea, because there's continuing resolutions right now, and I think they go until the end of April, beginning of May, so so it's not clear when we'll find out our allocation amount for both grants. So in order to speed the process, that's when they said that we do proportionally have it lower or an increase or stay the same, so that when it's time to submit, we don't have to do another 30-day public comment period. So if you look at the memo, under this community development block grant, lists our programs and the dollar amount. So initially here it shows the administration, which is 10% of our current grant, and that is what we are listing here. Program delivery is also like administration, but it is tied more to housing programs, tied to addresses that we do. So that's why we have that certain amount. We did bump it up because of possible cuts in the program, the grant, then that would lessen the amount that we could have for administration, since it's a cap of 20%. So that's why we bumped up the program delivery, to still cover administration costs. Emergency grant, excess grant, we have it again as the status quo amount of the $60,000, same as this year. Same with the senior repair at $15,000. Public service programs, which make up, there's 3 different programs: our transitional housing program, Consolidated Social Service Fund, and neighborhood cleanup. This is the 15% of what our current grant amount is. And Then on page 4 of the memo, it shows the Home Investment Partnerships Act, that program, HOME. What the administration, that amount is 10% of the grant, so we're using the same level as this year. And then CHOTO reserve funds, those are 15% set aside that is required of the regulations, and so that is what that amount is, same as this fiscal year. And then we also show the City of Urbana's portion, which we have used for whole house rehab. If that amount goes down, then we would do less whole house units. And then the city redevelopment programs are any other eligible that we have done in the past, like a down payment assistance or lot acquisition demolition, putting funds toward affordable housing developments, such as Aspen Court or Urbana townhomes that are coming up. And then it shows the City of Champaign's allocation for their neighborhood revitalization program, and Champaign County for their tenant-based rent assistance program. So the initial memo shows status quo. Then if you look at, we have different scenarios. So budget number 1 shows what the current is, nothing changes. Budget scenario number 2 is if there's a 10% reduction, and that therefore for both home and CDBG, so we show that. And then scenario number 3 is if there happens to be an increase, which could happen, we don't know, but HUD said to do decrease, increase, and stay the same. So those are pretty much the same programs, just different dollar amounts. So I did want to go over that before anybody wanted to make any comments. And then there's also the proposed amendment to the annual action plan for fiscal year 14-15 and fiscal year 15-16. And this is taking funds, pretty much carryover funds, and this is what's related to the RFP that we put out, in which we have representatives from the 3 agencies that received funding through the RFP. We have them here to talk after we do the staff report to talk about their program. So this shows the amount that we are amending and changing. Some of it is Champaign's money, and some of it is our funds. So there we have. So if there's any questions or anything related to this from anyone in the audience or any of the commissioners.
So, go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions. I saw from the minutes last time that you briefly discussed how federal funding might change, especially in light of Urbana's status as a sanctuary city. I don't know if you've heard any word, if there's any news about grants and like when you think there might be a change, or if there's a change, when will it happen, et cetera. There's not a whole lot of information. I noticed that there were a couple of House bills in committees. I know the Attorney General commented again about sanctuary cities. Other than that, have not received anything stating that we are not getting any funding or anything like that. So we definitely will keep watch over, but as of now, we haven't received anything from HUD or any letter or anything from the federal government.
Okay, I presume most of this information has been disseminated so that people out in the audience are familiar with it?
We have it on the city website. So, and it will be out, all the information will be, the public comment period started yesterday, but it will be for 30 days. So I would suggest anybody that hasn't really looked at it yet to look at it, and then you can certainly send emails to us with any questions or comments, since it's a 30-day period. This is just the initial public hearing. So,
Okay. Well, with that little information, I will continue and continue with the public hearing. So if anyone would like to come forward and express an opinion or questions, feel free to do so. Okay, guess no one wants to say anything at this time, but remember, we have 30 days to for comments. Okay, let's see. Seeing that there are no further comments, I now declare the public hearing closed. Okay. With that, I'll start the. I now declare the Community Development Commission meeting. I call it to order at this time. And next would be roll call. Here.
Commissioner Dennison? Here. Commissioner Diana? Commissioner Hines Silvas? Here. Commissioner Harpus? Here. Commissioner Moreland?
Here.
Commissioner Hodgson Jones? Here. Commissioner Salam? Here. And Commissioner Brown? Here. You definitely have a quorum.
Okay. Well, next on our agenda is approval or modification of our minutes from the meeting of February 28, 2017. We have a copy of the minutes in our packet. If you'd like a minute or two to review those, let's take a minute or two, after which I'll entertain a motion for approval or modification. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes as written.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes. Any questions? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the minutes are approved as written. Good. Next, we have petitions and communications. That's any written correspondence. We have
No, we haven't.
Okay. Audience participation is next. Again, anyone in the audience, come forward if you would like to say something. If not, next we'll go to staff report.
Okay, you have a copy of the staff briefing. You'll note under HUD activity that we received an email regarding monitoring of our community development block grant program in May. It has actually been quite a while since we've been monitored on our CDBG program. And so we'll have our new CDBG and Home HUD rep, and along with Kimberly Dana, who's her supervisor, program manager. So it'll be the week of May 15th through 19th, so we're looking forward to that. And then we also received an email regarding monitoring of our COC SHP Homeless Families in Transition, which will be in June, June 21st through 23rd. So it's been quite a while since we've had HUD come, like more than once, you know. We're having them twice, so that's okay. We'll get through it. So and then if there's something we need to change or fix, we can do that. So so those are two important pieces. You can also see all, activities. We did receive an email from the Illinois Housing Development Authority that we were approved for the Abandoned Properties Program grant application that we submitted, which is great. That's $71,000. It's similar to the Blight Reduction Program, but it's a different source of funds. So we're looking forward to that. We're already working on the committal letter that we need to send, and then work on amending the budget and getting a resolution to approve and accept this. So this is exciting. Our community development associate that we are sharing with the planning division was instrumental in doing this application, and so we're excited, and she did a great job. So and then of course you can see working on budgets for next year, fiscal year. We're already starting that process, and finishing up with the Blight Reduction Program. The Consolidated Social Service Fund is on its way. We've had 3 trainings, and the application is due in April. So that's in full swing. And then you can see under the Housing Rehab Coordinator the different applications of projects that he has done for emergency grant and senior repair. And then you can see all the meetings that we've attended. And then I also listed a lot of the conferences that and webinars and trainings that we've attended. So the Illinois Governor's Conference on Affordable Housing, the HUD Home Rental Housing Development and Compliance Training, HUD Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Training, the HUD Environmental Review Record Training, which Matt is at right now, which is why he's not here. Then there was the IDA Abandoned Properties Program Welcome Webinar. After we were announced that we had won in the second round, and there was a webinar we had to attend. And then there was a Grant Accounting Transparency Act training webinar, because we have the Emergency Solutions Grant with the state, and that application will be coming sometime soon too. So with that, that's our staff briefing. Any questions? Let me know.
Yeah, I was wondering, I noticed under housing rehabilitation or rehab project, it says property maintenance mowing out for bid. When does that go out for bid?
I think it's already been out.
Oh,
I would have to check with Randy on that, because he's the one that does all that
Randy does.
bidding. And yeah, so I can certainly check with him and let you know.
okay. Okay, any other questions?
On the home program?
Yes.
On the first page, the 3 agencies that were chosen for funding, what were the 3?
They are here tonight, actually. It is Habitat for Humanity for new construction, which is actually a good segue into, I was going to have them do presentations about the RFP that they submitted. So Habitat for Humanity for new construction of, I forgot how many houses, 3, I think, 3, 4, okay. And Courage Connection for a TBRA program, and Janice Parker with Navicor for down payment assistance on behalf of the Champaign County, let me think of it, the Community Reinvestment Group, which is actually it's a group made up of banks. The cities attend as well, and that because banks have a Community Reinvestment Act, they're supposed to do activities in the communities. So they're the ones that do like the home buyers seminars out of Parkland and stuff like that. So they, along with Navicor, submitted a request, part of the request. So the three, they have representatives from each of those that are here to talk about what they submitted, and also if there's any other questions you might have. They should have brought some data with them as well, so that they can share of numbers served and stuff and what they do. So are there any other questions regarding the staff briefing?
If there are no other questions, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next, we've got the home RFP awards and agency presentations.
Yes.
Is
So
that in certain order? Or?
Well, we could either do it in alphabetical order. We could do it. There's no particular order. So let's see. If we do an alphabetical order, it would be Courage Connection first. So sure, if you want to come up and introduce yourselves and
Good evening, and thank you to Kelly and the Commission for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Jason Greenlee. I'm the Programs Administrator for Courage Connection. This is Candace Godbold, our Housing Coordinator. So first and foremost, if any of you are not familiar with Courage Connection is a domestic violence services provider. Probably don't have to tell the folks here on the Commission that domestic violence is a vastly underreported crime, and that people can be at risk for quite significant psychological and physical injury. It's not hyperbole to say that domestic violence services here and across the country save lives. Some of the services that Courage Connection provides include emergency shelter for people who are fleeing domestic violence, transitional housing for those that are rebuilding their lives following domestic violence. We have court advocates to help people through the court system, and we have counseling. One new program within our counseling that I want to draw your attention to is we now have a friends and family support group. So, for example, if you have somebody in your life that might be experiencing domestic violence, but they're not ready to seek services yet, the support group is for you, so that you're supported, and also we can help you become somebody that can support your loved one, for when they become ready to get assistance. We are proud to say that we are one of the very first domestic violence service providers in the country. We started providing services in 1971 and have been offering them nonstop ever since. If any of you have been in the community for a while, you may have known us under previous names. We initially began as a woman's place. We were briefly the Center for Women in Transition. Today we are Courage Connection. So while we are a DV services agency, we do have a few services that are not DV-centric, DV being domestic violence. Forgive if that wasn't clear. Most of you are probably familiar with our store that we operate in Lincoln Square Mall, Connections. That would be an example of a program that we have that, of course, benefits our clients that are receiving domestic violence services. But it's also a job training program for anyone who has a criminal background. So what the Home Consortium has chosen to fund for Courage Connection is one of those programs that's not domestic violence centric. So while our domestic violence services clients do utilize the TBRA program, it's actually a community program. So with that brief overview, I'll pass the mic to Candace, who will explain exactly what the TBRA program does.
So as the housing coordinator at Courage Connection, I help homeless people locate permanent housing. I determine the financial assistance needed to help them move, and I help them maintain their housing by providing ongoing case management assistance. In essence, I help homeless people rebuild their lives, and I feel really blessed to be able to do this job. Kelly should have provided you with a handout. Okay. Yes.
Yep.
I'm going to briefly go through that. So, what is the tenant-based rental assistance program? It is a time-limited program that provides rental assistance to people who are homeless or near homeless. Clients who enter the program are economically disadvantaged. Approximately 30% of the client's income goes to the rent payment, and the rest of the rent is paid through the program. Clients may receive up to 2 years of assistance. TBRA serves as an intermediary or stepping stone from homelessness to complete self-sufficiency. In the program, clients learn how to budget and prepare for complete financial independence. Why is the TBRA program so critical in resolving homelessness in our community? The current demand for TBRA is significant. Table 1 shows the HUD fair market rent values for Champaign County. Rent is very high for the low-income population here in our community. Most of the clients we serve are families necessitating at least a 2-bedroom unit. Many property owners require a prospective tenant to make 3 times the monthly rent. This means the person would need to make roughly $15.50 per hour at 40 hours per week to afford a 2-bedroom unit. The minimum wage in Illinois is $8.25 per hour. This means that a fair market rent unit is simply out of reach for many low-income families, even at a rate of around $600 for a unit. The challenge to meet this rent is still significant, and the housing is often of poor quality. The challenge is even higher for those families with more than one child, as you can see. Further, the Champaign County Regional Housing Study completed in 2010 by Voight Santer Insights demonstrates a significant gap in lower income housing availability, as seen in Table 2. While no doubt having improved somewhat in recent years, the deficit for affordable rental properties is staggering. According to Table 2, renters who make less than $15,000 per year in Urbana will have a very difficult time finding housing because there is a deficit of 1,304 low-rent housing units for this particular population. In Champaign, the housing deficit is even more pronounced if you look at Table 3. There's a deficit of 1,820 units available for the amount of renters making less than $15,000 per year. Therefore, many of the people who are living in shelters and transitional housings don't make enough money to move into permanent housing, and there are massive deficits in low-rent housing available in our community. How has the TBRA program helped resolve homelessness in our community? TBRA has been a lifeline for many in the community. It has given so many people a second chance on life. Over the past 6 years, Courage Connection has successfully provided TBRA funds to 36 households. Only one client returned to homelessness after completing the TBRA program, and we were able to help that client move back into permanent housing with our rapid rehousing program. Now I would like to share with you the personal story of 2 of my clients. One of my clients was a victim of domestic violence. Her husband physically abused her for years, and she also struggled with substance abuse. She entered the Courage Connection Domestic Violence Emergency Shelter with nothing but the clothes on her back. She found employment at a local restaurant making minimum wage. She had 2 children and needed an apartment, but she couldn't afford to pay full rent. This particular client also had multiple evictions and a poor credit history. It would have been almost impossible for this client to qualify for permanent housing without monthly assistance. Most property managers would not have taken a chance on this client. She was accepted into the TBRA program and continued to work hard at her job. Within a few months of being in TBRA, she was promoted to a management level position, and she worked her way to full financial independence. She only received 1 year of TBRA assistance, and today this client is the general manager at this restaurant. She is completely independent, and she's renting a house now without subsidy. I had another client who became homeless with 1 child. She struggled with depression and had no family support. She also had a poor credit history. She found the help and support that she needed in Courage Connection Transitional Housing Program. She got a job at a local cafe and entered the TBRA program. During her 2nd year in the TBRA program, she was promoted to a managerial position, and she was able to pay full rent after the promotion. While in TBRA, she saved money and generated a positive rental history. When she ended the program, she moved into a 2-bedroom house closer to her job, and she's currently paying full rent without subsidy. Overall, TBRA has been a very successful program in our community. It is a very integral step in helping to restore homeless people to independent living. In my opinion, TBRA represents independence and financial freedom because it's time limited. I would like to thank the City of Urbana, the City of Champaign, Champaign County, and the Urbana Home Consortium for giving us the opportunity to provide this program to the community. I would also like to thank everyone here at the Community Development Commission for giving me the opportunity to talk about this very vital and critical program. Thank you.
And before we take any questions, before I leave, I will leave my contact information with Kelly, which has, of course, our domestic violence hotline, which is a great place to get initial information, and want to extend a personal invitation to the members of the commission if you wanted to tour our facilities and learn anything more about our TBRA program or anything that we do. We would welcome your phone call and would look forward to providing that tour and providing you more information. But with that, if you had any questions for me or Candace, we would love to take them.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you for sharing. I just was wondering, is there any criteria that an individual has to meet in order to qualify for the TBRA program? Is it gender specific? Is it not?
A person would have to be homeless or near homeless.
But no other criteria?
No. Well, they have to be 60% less than the median family income as well.
Thanks for coming and presenting to us. I was wondering, what's the average amount of time that one of your clients spends on the TBRA program?
In the program, most of the clients are in for 1 year, but we have a few that spent the whole 2 years in the program.
And after that, they're moving on to not be homeless, all except one, and able to support themselves. Is that right?
Correct. They move into permanent housing.
Question, I was wondering approximately what percentage of your applicants do you accept?
Approximately what percentage?
Yeah.
Well, about 100%. I mean, we pretty much know exactly what clients are on the, well, actually when we get clients, we put them on the wait list.
Mhm.
And then after that, we go through the wait list and see which ones are homeless, which ones are near homeless. Some people may not be homeless, but they hear about the program.
Mhm.
And then the people who are homeless in transitional housing or in emergency shelter, those people are prioritized for the program.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, next I will have the representative from Habitat for Humanity, Ben Lewis.
Good evening. My name is Ben Lewis. I'm part of the construction staff with Habitat. Sheila Dodd is our executive director. She would normally be here. but they're all in a conference in Atlanta. So, for you guys, for those who don't know about Habitat, we're a nonprofit housing organization. We build new construction or remodel homes, which are then sold to low-income families below the 80% medium income area for here. In terms of this particular funding, we hope to use it to fund 4 houses. As of now, we're not sure if they're going to be rehab or new construction, but we definitely plan on starting them this summer, and they'll be done in a year by next summer. We have 2 approved families that we know will be part of these 4 houses, but then we have also 45 currently in our queue that are waiting on the wait list for homes for Habitat. And then as far as the location, we have 5 lots currently that are open if the homeowners choose to work on those. And then we're also, if we do rehab, we'll look into that and the different locations there. That's about it. You guys have any questions?
Aside, about how many homes or properties or land? I think you bring, when we had that tour, you were talking about Habitat and said something like 31 or something that they may have access to. Well, how many do you have access to? I know you had 4 in the pipeline, right? Or 5 in the pipeline, but
Yeah, so we have a lot from the big blight reduction project, which those have to be green space for 3 years. And then rehabs, we can pretty much anything on the market we'll purchase and then rehab those and sell them to our homeowners for 0% interest. So right now we've been around since 1992. This May we'll be starting our 100th home. So
Very good.
that's pretty exciting. Yeah. Any other questions?
Anyone else? Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thank
Very
you.
impressive.
Thank you. And then last but not least, we'll have Janice Parker with Navicor for the Champaign County Reinvestment Group Down Payment Assistance Program.
Hello and good evening, everyone. My name's Janice Parker, and I'm with Navicor Solutions. So for those who may not know who Navicor Solutions is, you may know Consumer Credit Counseling Agency. So our organization has served Central Illinois since 1966, starting out as Consumer Credit Counseling Agency, then transitioning to Central Illinois Debt Management. In 2011, we were acquired by a national credit counseling and housing counseling agency, which is known as Navicor Solutions. So that's who we are. So today I'm here excited to present to you our request for a new down payment assistance program. And this is through, as Kelly stated, the Community Reinvestment Group. The committee is made up of the City of Urbana, the City of Champaign, the Village of Rantoul, Champaign County, our agency, Navicor Solutions, Habitat for Humanity, and the banks are Bank Champaign, Busey Bank, First Federal Savings Bank, First Mid-Illinois Bank and Trust, First Midwest, Heartland Bank, Hickory Point Bank and Trust, Iroquois Federal Credit Savings, Marine Bank, Midland State Bank, and several nonprofit organizations. So the purpose, as Kelly kind of alluded to earlier, is this group, this consortium comes together, and the focus is to understand and to get an idea of how they can serve, how we can serve the low to moderate income population, and then provide products to support them. That could be banking products and services, and so the down payment assistance is one of those services that we hope to be able to fill the need of the low to moderate income population. So there are very few down payment assistance resources available, and when they do become available, they go very quickly, as you may imagine. So our group is choosing to hopefully fill a void that is of great need in our area. The program will assist low to moderate income buyers in purchasing a home within the city limits of Champaign, Urbana, or unincorporated Champaign County. And so we've established it as a need-based program. It will be a forgivable loan to assist them in making their home purchase, and applicants can receive up to 10% of the purchase price of their home that they choose. So I am excited and that we were offered this opportunity. Thank you so much, Kelly. And on behalf of Navicor Solutions and the Community Reinvestment Group, we thank you so much for considering us. So is there any questions?
Yes, what did you say that percentage was?
10%.
10%. Okay.
A maximum of 10%. This will determine the home buyer's ratio, so we anticipate all applicants will not receive 10%. So it's going to be on an as-need to fill the gap with the bank to make it affordable for the home buyer.
Oh.
Yes. Well, those will be determined by the bank. They'll be determined by the individual's credit score, so all of those factors. But these will be fixed rate mortgages. So.
Yeah, follow up from Lauren's question, but the borrower could be required to pay points because they're not providing all the funds themselves. Do you know how that might work?
Again, it would be based on the individual situation, but yes, I anticipate that could possibly be the case, yes, if they don't bring enough money down to the table, so. Yes.
I was wondering where you're located and what your relationship is with the Community Reinvestment Act members.
Sure. So Navicor Solutions is a national organization, so we serve all 50 states. In Illinois, we're in Champaign and also in Peoria. So I'm in the Peoria office. I serve as the Illinois Relationships Manager, so it's my job to create and maintain relationships throughout the state of Illinois. And so the part that we play within the Community Reinvestment Group as a nonprofit organization, serving individuals who have credit issues. So some of the services that Navicor offer is credit counseling, budget counseling, student loan counseling, bankruptcy counseling, and as a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, we assist individuals who are either homeless, renters, first-time home buyers, people who have homes who are losing them to foreclosure, or senior citizens who are considering a HECM loan or reverse mortgage.
So would applicants have to go to Peoria, or
No,
they contact who?
No, so great question though. So all of the banks that are here are listed within Champaign, within those counties. So all of those banks will promote the program, and the individual who wish to apply for the loan will apply at the bank. Our organization will serve as the administrator, so we will work with Kelly to administer the funds to the banks when it's requested, and it will be our job to obviously keep track of what fundings are available, and more importantly to qualify the buyers. So it's our job to counsel them for credit counseling and to ensure that they meet the correct ratios, front end and back end.
Okay.
So no, they will not have to travel to Peoria.
Could you state where your office is at?
Yes.
In Champaign?
Yes. Well, actually, our counselor just moved from the Huntington Towers to his home, so he's working from home. But if someone wanted to see him, he also serves in the mediation, so they could, meet him in a public place. But we do not have a physical location any longer. But we were in the Huntington Towers for probably like 15, 16 years.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much.
Have a nice trip back.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So yes, we, I think it was the beginning of March, after we received the submissions,
representatives from Champaign County, from the city of Champaign and Urbana. We all met that whole day and reviewed all of the RFPs that were submitted, and these are the ones that were chosen. And we're excited because they're all different programs, you know, from TBRA to down payment assistance to new construction. So we think that this, of course, then will also assist us with our timeliness that we have to do with our commitments for home as well. So again, we're real excited for these different programs. So thank you all.
Okay. All right, proceeding with our agenda, next is old business. We have nothing under old business. Does anyone have old business? If not, we'll go to new business. Under new business, we've got CDBG and home, adoption of a plan to comply with 24 CFR Part 135 of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Section 3.
That would be me. A lot of talking tonight. So before you is the memo regarding Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act. And this, Section 3 is, the purpose is to ensure the employment and other economic opportunities generated by certain financial assistance, which is pretty much our CDBG and home. And so we are to greatest extent feasible and consistent with federal, state, and local laws and regulations, be directed to low and moderate and low and very low income persons. So it's more of like an economic, you know, helping them with employment, particularly when it's related to housing. So, you know, so Section 3 could work involved with our multifamily housing programs, so that persons can be hired. Example would be Highland Green that's currently going on. We had a meeting and they talked about that they had hired someone in the neighborhood to be a laborer for that development. So that was under Section 3. So previously we have complied with the regulations, but and then we passed that information on. But to consolidate all the regulations and make it easier, that's why we have put this Section 3 plan. Template from HUD plus the Housing Authority of Champaign County. They also have a Section 3 plan that they do. So as you can see, it's CDBG and home. So under this plan, contractors must ensure that to the greatest extent feasible, at least 30% of the aggregate new hires working on HUD-funded projects are Section 3 residents. And the plan defines what Section 3 residents are. If the contractor does not meet the goal, then they just have to document why they were unable to meet that goal. Also, among other proposed activities, the plan calls for the city to undertake the following actions. Contact the City of Urbana Economic Development Division, which is another division in our department, local business assistance agencies, minority and women's business enterprise, contractors associations, other community organizations to inform them of contracting opportunities and to request their assistance in identifying potential concerns. Also, establish relationships with the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation and the Champaign-Urbana Small Business Development Center to assist the city with educating and mentoring residents with a desire to start their own businesses. Coordinate pre-bid meetings at which the Section 3 business concerns would be informed of upcoming contracting opportunities in advance, and provide written notice of contracting opportunities to all known Section 3 business concerns. The written notice would be provided in sufficient time to enable businesses to the opportunity to respond to the bid invitation. This plan will only pertain to projects funded by HUD grant programs that have been allocated to the City of Urbana and the Urbana Home Consortium. We had them, the other members of the consortium, review this as well. In terms of programmatic impacts, this plan will assist in the existing anti-poverty strategy that is detailed in the current City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium consolidated plan. And therefore, staff recommends that the Community Development Commission approve the Section 3 plan for the City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium. With that, I'll entertain any questions that you might have.
Questions?
I had a quick question. What does it mean to establish relationships with the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation? The wording of that second bullet point seemed less specific or less concrete than the other three.
Well, I think that's pretty open. I know that, like our Economic Development Division, they already have staff that are involved, so probably utilizing those relationships that are already there. And if there's not, then working to establish. But I'm pretty confident that we have we're already having a relationship. Some of this is also template wording, but we did try to define and narrow it to our community. So,
Thanks, Kelly.
you're welcome.
Go ahead.
Can I ask, do you think the 30% threshold, is that just is that the standard that's being met already, or is that goal standard? I was a little confused by that.
Yeah, I think that is the percentage that is under the Section 3 regulations.
Question? I was wondering if the city still maintains a minority, female, and small business contractor list
I know.
that you could refer to get low-income employees. I know you used to
Right.
at some point.
I know that Randy, regarding housing rehab, he keeps a list for that.
Would it be presented or available at the pre-bid meetings?
Probably. And then, of course, I also would check with HR, our Human Resources and Human Relations Officer, to see if they had any lists as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we would make those available, particularly if the plan states that we would do that, we would do that.
Okay, but it's not in there, though. But,
It's not? Okay.
reference to it. But it'd be good if you do it,
Well, let me write that down. So, having the list for the pre-bid,
Yeah.
I will certainly look to see if that is something that we can do.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on to our next item of new business. It's Private Activity Bond Cap 2017. A resolution evidencing the intention of the City of Urbana, Champaign County, Illinois, to transfer volume cap in connection with private activity bond issues, single-family mortgage revenue bonds, and related matters, in parentheses, private bond cap allocation dash EIEDA Series 2017, in parentheses. Oh, yes. Let me go back to the previous one. We have
Thank you.
choices to make. We can...
Actually, we just have one choice for you.
Okay, our options. Approve the adoption of the plan to comply with that 24 CFR Part 135 of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Section 3. We can approve it as it is, approve it with suggested changes, or not approve it. I'll entertain a motion for one of those options.
I move that we approve as written the Section 3 plan. As typed in it.
You second? You second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this plan as written. Well, you have a little note to include providing something at the pre-bid meeting?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I will
Yeah,
check.
and is that a suggested change that we
That's,
could make?
okay,
Would that be two or?
Is that
That
part
would
of the
be-
plan, or is that just additional resource for the plan? I mean, how would that?
yeah, for it to be technical, it would be number 2, the second option, to adoption of the plan to comply with suggested changes.
But is that a change to the plan, or is that just an additional resource provided with the plan?
Well, it's an additional resource, and an additional resource changes the plan. So,
That would be fine if you wanted to do that.
I'm just concerned that as the contact information and as people move on and off that list, we don't want to have to be revising and reviewing and reapproving the plan based on the changes of those suggestions for contractors. Or would that be an issue?
Well, we don't have to list the contractors, we can just state that the list would be made available.
Okay, all
state
right.
where it
And
is. Yeah, where
so-
it is.
Okay, so can I amend my motion to approve with that addition to the plan that we suggest they look
Okay.
at the minority contractors, minority and women contractors?
Okay.
So,
Okay, so we have an amended motion to go with option 2, to approve the adoption of a plan to comply with 24 CFR Part 135 of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, Section 3, with the suggested change that we discussed. Is there a second?
I second.
We have a second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve what I just said. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, now we can move on to the bond cap. Kelly, would you like to explain that?
Yes, just a moment here. So, so the issue before the Committee of Home Commission is to make a recommendation to the Urbana City Council regarding the use of the city's private activity bond cap or volume cap. And then the Urbana City Council must decide how to allocate the city's bond cap before May 1st, 2017. That's the deadline. Because if the amount has not been granted, transferred, or reserved by home rule units, which the city of Urbana is, for specific projects or purposes as of May 1st, then it goes to the state, the governor's office, and they take it over on June 1st. So, in general, a private activity bond cap is a bond issued by or on behalf of a local or state government for the purpose of financing the project of a private user. Private activity bonds are issued to finance various types of facilities, including multifamily housing projects and single-family homes. Private activity bonds issued by the city are special obligations, and they do not constitute a debt or indebtedness of the city, and do not rise to a charge against the general credit or taxing power of the city. So it's not actual money per se, but the bonds are used by private entities as an alternative financing option that gives them certain federal taxation benefits. So the options for our private activity bond cap include reserving it for specific projects or participating in home buyer assistance programs offered through like the Illinois Assistance MCC program, and or reserving the bond cap for neighborhood initiatives through the Eastern Illinois Economic Development Authority. So through the Illinois Assist MCC program, which is Mortgage Certificate Credit Program, a mortgage credit certificate allows qualifying buyers to receive an annual federal income tax credit on a portion of the annual interest that they pay on their mortgage. Actually, when I purchased my house, an example, I got on that, and so for the life of my mortgage, I have that to my tax person. I give them the interest paid, and then they have the certificate, and it's Not upfront down payment assistance, kind of on the back end, but I think it's a good program. So so this would go toward the Illinois Assist. Through the Eastern Illinois Economic Development Authority, they're able to serve as the issuer of a bond, thus removing any financial liability on the part of the city. They're able to issue taxable and tax-exempt bonds for the purpose of developing, constructing, acquiring, improving properties or facilities or business entities, or expanding within their jurisdiction. So examples of neighborhood initiatives include accessing funds for multifamily housing projects such as like Aspen Court, redevelopment, or Urbana Townhome site. There is no fiscal impact to the city budget or the grants budget in ceding the volume cap to EIEDA. For the Illinois Assist program, the city would have no liability for bond repayment since the city would not be the bond issuer and all mortgage repayments would be government insured. And also the added benefit would be that the city would realize an increase in property taxes from new Urbana home buyers. So that being said, staff recommends that the Community Development Commission forward the resolutions to the Urbana City Council with a recommendation for allocation of the City of Urbana 2017 private activity bond cap in the following manner. That we would take our allocation of $4,231,100 and divide that evenly with 50% in the amount of $2,115,550 be utilized for the Illinois Assist program, and then the other 50% for EIEDA for possible neighborhood initiatives in the community. Any questions? Yes.
Were there any other entities that were considered as potentially receiving the bond cap, and then, or were there any organizations that were solicited? And then also, my second question is why the 50-50 split? What was the thinking there?
Well, how do I say this? So, it was just easiest to divide, and again, we've been doing, according to, the memo, we've been doing this split for several years with the thinking that with the Eastern Illinois Economic Development Authority, that we could, if we may not have CDBG or home funds necessarily available for a multifamily housing project, we could look at the private activity bond cap, the bonds, which the EIEDA is very familiar with. And they even commented in a meeting that we had that works very well with the 4% low-income housing tax credits that you can get from the Illinois Housing Development Authority. They have 9% and they have the 4%. 9% is competitive, the 4% are not. Which means, therefore, if you have the 4%, you need more financing to make your project affordable. So, so that was why we, and then I figured it was just easiest to just split it down the middle. And if you look on the back of the memo, I think at the very back, we have information that I received from the Illinois Assist regarding how many households or how much they assisted. So they showed a map with the little houses showing, and then on the very back of that, it has how much assistance was provided in Urbana. So there were 15 home buyers that received this mortgage certificate credit. And it shows the dollar amounts as well. So we feel that this is another helping tool out there to assist home buyers. They also sent us a flyer talking about what is the program, what are the purchase price limits and the income limits, and then how to sign up with contact information. So, so that's why. And as far as looking for other entities, I'm not aware of that many that we could seed to. And so choosing the two, we know that they are using those, the bond that we're seeding for projects and for assistance. Does that answer the question? Okay.
So these 15 home buyers who were assisted, that was just last year, was 15?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So having the two adds flexibility.
Yes, it does. Mhm.
Right. Okay. Any other questions?
Do we have a sense of similar numbers for how many people were helped by the other, the
EIEDA.
EIEDA?
You know what? I just realized that I didn't ask for an update. I will contact them to find out what projects, if any, have they been using like our, because they do try to keep them locally, and the executive director is also in connection and contact with the other authorities around the state, and if it happens to be that there's bond cap they haven't used, we can like get that as well. So, but I will certainly ask him for that information. Usually I get what projects have been done that have used our bond cap.
Okay. Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to forward this resolution to City Council.
I so move.
We have a motion to recommend to forward the resolution to the Urbana City Council with a recommendation for the allocation of City of Urbana 2017 private activity bond cap in the following manner. Half the allocation of $4,231,100, which comes to $2,115,550 from the City of Urbana 2017 private activity bond cap to be utilized for the Assist 2017 program, and the other half to EIEDA to be utilized for possible neighborhood initiatives in the community, such as multifamily housing developments. Is there a second? Okay, there I have a motion and a second to forward this resolution. Any questions, comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, and the motion carries. Okay, next, excuse me. We have a resolution evidencing the intention of the City of Urbana, Champaign County, Illinois, to transfer volume cap in connection with the private activity bond issues, single-family mortgage revenue bonds, and related matters, private bond cap allocation, Illinois Assist, Series 2017.
Actually, this was one memo with the two
Yeah, it
resolutions.
sounded like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could just say ditto, you know.
Okay, so this was incorporated in what we just did.
Yes, yes. It was one memo, but two resolutions because it's two separate entities.
Okay. So that mission has been accomplished. That concludes our agenda for the evening. Any commissioners have anything else you'd like to bring up at this meeting? Yes.
I'm just looking through the information, Kelly, that you guys provided. And in the past, we've had lots of questions about what does that bond cap really mean? How come it's not really money? And on page 23 of the 52 pages, there's a introduction that provides a really nice, concise explanation of what that bond cap, the value of that bond cap, and why, from the state's perspective, why that is allocated only so much per state, and then that allocated among entities. So in the past, we've had questions about it, and you guys have provided good explanations, but I just happened to see that, and so I'll call people's attention to that if they want a little bit more background information on that bond cap. I'm always confused by it, and I have to remind myself every time
I also
what it
have
means.
2 reports from Congress. One is private activity bonds, an introduction, and tax exempt bonds, a description of state and local government debt. If you're interested, I can email these to you for review. That gives an explanation as well.
Okay, what page was that?
It's page 23 of the 52 pages, and that's supporting documents for that resolution.
Okay. Any other issues? If not, I now declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you for your attention and participation.
Thank you.